From the day it was released to the public, Stardew Valley has been the Princess Diana of farming sims. It redefined a genre often left behind, placed a spotlight on indie developers, and kickstarted the blueprint for what is now known as a cozy game. Although many farming sims have tried to nip at its heels, none have managed to really challenge it. Except, in the eyes of some, Fields of Mistria, which was released in early access in August of this year. Since it first hit the market at the price of $13.99, Fields of Mistria has amassed over 100,000 downloads, which is a big milestone for any indie title, not to mention the fact that it came out a month ago. The anime-stylized portraits, pastel scenery, and damn hot romanceable characters have caused plenty of buzz. Or at least Hayden has on Grindr. But how does this new savior of the broken, the beaten, and the damned compare to the giant that came before it? Well, I pushed off my responsibilities to play this game for like a week straight. Let's put these two games side by side and see what makes them both tick. Or, stare at Juniper's eyes. Sorry. Let's hop in. Of course, these games are going to be a bit difficult to hold to one level standard, as Fields of Mistria is still in early access. Although there is a lot of content currently out, I can't comment on certain unreleased aspects, obviously, and bugs and crashes are a given. I'm going to try my absolute best to compare them fairly, but keep in mind that the issues I have could be changed in the future. Or don't keep that in mind and be a bitch about it, not my clown nor my circus. You do what you want. To begin, we can focus in on the visual design. Stardew Valley's pixel art leans into a more realistic style with mostly accurate proportions. The colors are bolder and brighter with a lot of shading and shadows, which gives it a more nostalgic and classic look. It built on Harvest Moon's graphics by enhancing them and giving them life, with the world seeming lush and thick as a result. Fields of Mistria leans heavily on the aforementioned anime, cutesy, pastel side of things. It's very Sailor Moon-esque, with less realistic faces and more chibi-style sprites. The shading is much blockier and softer, and items and surroundings tend to lean more cartoonish and sweet. Of course, art style is a personal preference, so it's up to you to choose which one you prefer. Stardew's movement and animation tends to look a bit stiffer and chunkier in comparison to Fields of Mistria's, but that only becomes noticeable when you've played the latter. I really enjoy the smooth action animations with Fields of Mistria. It makes the experience of doing your daily tasks feel a lot snappier, a little pep in your step, if you will. But like I said, it really isn't that much of a difference either way. Mistria's housing and character designs are incredibly detailed. Looking in Celine's house for the first time did make me audibly gasp. I mean, holy shit, the game is a feast for the eyes. I say that like I have a degree in pixel art houses. I don't. If they made one, I'd get it. However, Stardew's houses have a warmth to them that is hard to create, and I do miss that at times in Fields of Mistria. Every single NPC is disgustingly hot. I don't know what else to say about that. If I expressed my true feelings here, I would get banned from this website. Characters have seasonal and beach outfits as well, which is fantastic. I love to see that portrait variation included. In terms of controls, both games have strengths and weaknesses. Stardew's controls are very straightforward and easy to get used to, with one button toggling most actions. Fields of Mistria tends to allocate certain buttons to certain actions, which is fantastic in some situations and annoying in others. The benefit to having one button do most of the work lies in the ease and smoothness of the keyboard motions, which Mistria lacks at times. But when you accidentally gift someone something instead of talking to them in Stardew, well, you'll wish you did have separate buttons. Like when I gave Kent a bomb. It's fucked up how every development decision isn't black and white, right? The farming system in Fields of Mistria feels very natural and easy to use, although you'll have to get used to new tools. Only a couple though, like the shovel. You also don't have to refill your watering can, which feels like a kiss from God. Combat and mining are where I feel Mistria's flow is disrupted the most, with the sword movements feeling somewhat hard to control. It isn't terrible though, and it just took some time for me to get the hang of. The aforementioned separate interaction buttons are a total godsend when chatting with characters, and I am hyped someone thought to add that. The save system is the biggest of all for me, as you can save midday inside your house. My god, we've been needing this for ages. In Stardew, as I'm sure you know, you can only save by sleeping, which can waste a whole day if you've gotta go. You can also access different save states in the Fields of Mistria menu, which is great if you're a control freak like I am. The inventory button for Mistria does feel a bit out of the way for me, being escape, but it isn't too much of an issue, and that will depend on your preference. There are also a lot of small quality of life changes in Fields of Mistria, such as locations of NPCs being visible on the map, item prices popping up when you grab them, and the ability to jump being made available. Those pieces really stuck out to me when I first started playing and made me more keen to keep on truckin'. Although Stardew and Fields of Mistria share a lot of the same mechanics, there are a few new ones in the latter. Fields of Mistria added bug catching and wieldable magic to its arsenal and changed up fishing and the museum a bit. Fishing in Stardew is of course a short minigame, and this minigame is the bane of a lot of people's existence. Different fish have different catch difficulties, and some are incredibly hard to hook. Fields of Mistria, on the other hand, chose to ditch the minigame idea and ended up going with an Animal Crossing style approach. I am really torn on whether or not I like this. The challenge of Stardew fishing did make it feel more rewarding, but it was also just frustrating at times. It does bring down the intensity of fishing, so if Stardew's fishing stresses you out, you might prefer Mistria's. Bug catching is super simple. You could pretty much catch a bug in your sleep. They don't seem to run or hide, so you just strike at will. The available critters to catch vary by season, just like in Stardew and Animal Crossing, so there is a rush to catch things for that particular season. I really love a collection mechanic, so I'm all for this, but it might not feel as rewarding to some as the community center does. The amount of collections might also seem overwhelming at first, but after taking the time to get used to it, I've found the museum really enjoyable. We also have the cooking and crafting mechanics, which I don't know. The cooking is very similar to Stardew, except making the dish takes time. Each recipe will vary in that department, but it's usually like half an hour. Crafting is very similar to Animal Crossing New Horizons, where you have to head to a crafting table instead of doing it in your inventory like in Stardew. This also takes time, and in the case of making something like fences, it can be a lot of time. Not real time, mind you, it's just subtracted from your in-game day. Thankfully, bulk crafting is available, but it can be kind of a nuisance. I'd love to hear what you think though, I'm very curious. The timing aspect does come in handy at the blacksmiths, where you can forge your own tools. You do not have to wait for Clint's dusty old ass to make your tools, which is so nice. The storyline sees you help repair the town after a devastating earthquake, piece by piece. The overall plot is super neat and seems very well thought out, and I'm interested to see where it will go as the game gets updated more. Stardew really excels in world building, where everything feels alive both with you and without you, and that's hard to replicate. NPC dialogue in Fields of Mistria is very well written, and there is a lot of it. You can talk to villagers multiple times a day in different parts of town, which makes things feel less stiff. Each character clearly shows a dedicated voice in their lines, giving them more intrigue and realism. Stardew does do really well at differentiating characters, but at times they can feel more like caricatures. Dialogue repetition is also rampant in Stardew. I have noticed it a bit in Fields of Mistria, but not anywhere near as much. I can't properly comment on romances or cutscenes since you can only get up to 4 hearts with characters in Mistria currently. However, the available ones are very long and well done. I've liked what I've seen, but that's all I've got. I will say Stardew Valley's dialogue is so near and dear to my heart, and it's also very cohesive and flows incredibly well. Ranching in Fields of Mistria is pretty fantastic. You do have to pay closer attention to your animals than you do in Stardew, but I find that helps me connect with them better. Production times feel well spaced out and carefully crafted. You can carry them around, feed them by hand, and dress them up. Yeah, look at him, he's chill as fuck. Jesus Christ. The overall magic system is still pretty foreign to me, to be honest. Your character receives mana, which regenerates over a few days. Mana is used to cast spells, each one with a different effect. One refills your energy bar, another calls a rainstorm to water your crops. I think I'm enjoying it so far, it's just taking some time to settle down with. I'm not quite ready to sleep over yet, I'm not meeting any parents. The leveling systems for both games are pretty different. In Fields of Mistria, you have a town rank, which is broken up into renown levels. Renown is earned by just doing your daily things, as well as completing quests for townsfolk. Stardew has the bulletin board outside of Pierre's, which is used for basically the same purpose, however Mistria's is much more involved. In addition to earning renown, you can often get recipes and a whole lot of money from completing these requests. The currency in this game is called Tesserae, by the way. I'm not sure why. It sounds like something one of my nieces would be named. Sorry, I shouldn't have public beef with my sister on my gaming YouTube channel. I really do prefer this quest incorporation to the one in Stardew. They feel more impactful and they aren't as easy to miss. I really enjoy foraging in this game, and it's been one of my favorite aspects so far. Stardew's foraging spawns are more random, and while some of Mistria's are too, there are also dedicated spots where items will respawn. It's really relaxing to me. I feel like a little gopher running around looking for scraps. I do love that you get to choose your own birthday in Fields of Mistria though, because I need everything to be about me all the time or I'll die. Not a whole lot happened on my birthday though, so I'm just gonna have to assume everyone in town hates me and wishes I was on Malaysian Flight 370. Speaking of me, let's talk about character customization. Stardew has a lot more base options for hair and clothing items, but fewer opportunities to acquire new clothes later on. Fields of Mistria has less in the beginning, but you do earn more. Fields of Mistria also doesn't have a color slider, so you just kind of have to go with what you're given. However, for hair and eye colors, they just added more. The most noticeable difference, in my opinion, is Mistria's option to pick pronouns. This is a really great step, and it's actually due to the illegal transgender operations happening in prisons currently, so that's great. Plus, Mistria has capes, which is sick as hell. No vendor in the game beats Hatmouse though, I'm so sorry, it's the cold hard truth. Hatmouse is the god I pray to, amen. House and farm decorating is also really wonderful in Fields of Mistria, with lots of furniture themes and small decorative items being available. Stardew has gotten a lot better in that realm with the 1.6 update though for home decorators. Both are really adorable, but Fields of Mistria does eke ahead for me with the amount of little touches you can add to your home. I've encountered a bit of crashing with Fields of Mistria, but nothing too bad, only once or twice, and not many bugs other than the catchable ones. I think Fields of Mistria was done incredibly well, and the developers seem very careful and passionate about their project. Even in the short time that this game has been available, they have made changes that the community requested. Of course, Stardew has been around for many years now and has received massive updates over its lifespan. That gives the amount of content a boost in comparison to Mistria, and it's exceptionally hard to give a real verdict on things. All I can really give you is what the games look like side by side right now, but I will tell you that my expectations for Fields of Mistria were blown out of the water, and I think it's going to shape up to be an amazing game, especially since it already is one. Both Stardew and Fields of Mistria are incredible games, and if you like one, I bet you'll like the other. But overall, it's up to you to decide what is and isn't your cup of tea, and I hope this video was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it. This video was not sponsored, I paid for it, I didn't get a code for free. Apologies for the late upload, I've been dealing with things. Don't know what else to say there, but I appreciate you sticking around very much. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay wonderful, my friends. Thank you to all of my members, and goodbye.